Okay, author's notes for Of Wolves and Men. I realize some fans of Hyboria will take issue with the stories having such overt magic, particularly the gods speaking to Lear. I encourage the reader to have faith in the continuity of this story. Howard did indeed have a bit of divine intervention in his world of the Hyborian age. In the story of the Black Colossus, he has Mitra address a princess who hears the voice of the god. Essentially, it seems that Howard has no problems with the gods occasionally speaking to mortals, but it would be a rare occasion, and the god isn't going to do anything to help you other than give you information in the manner of the Greek gods of myth. The mocking voice that Lear is hearing is indeed the spirit of Crom, but unlike some other properties, I will never depict Crom as carrying overmuch nor speaking through magic swords. Unlike a certain television show that shall not be named and shall forever be accursed. This mocking voice, you may have noticed, is also limited by Lear's understanding of the god in question and what Sumerians think about Crom and his virtue of self-reliance. The mocking voice is composed of 2/3 of Lear's subconscious, accusing him of lack, and a third part of the god's actual intervention. The three phantom goddesses are a bit different. They share a bond with Lear as they, like him, were sacrificed and transformed at the Standing Stones in the first Lear story, the Initiations of Lear. The three goddesses, in quotes, are not in fact gods. They are simply the shades of three very powerful female magicians, but Lear, being ignorant of this, assumes them to be deities. I have a story planned out later where Lear learns the song of these women and is able to set their shades free of the spell that ties them to the world. That story is still in development, and its end is uncertain. Like Lear, the three queens have a more caring and accepting view of others' destination during the afterlife transit. Howard did not overly detail his Nordheimer races, other than give us, the reader, obvious clues that the Nordheimer are supposed to be the basis for Germanic mythology. Playing with that, I have altered some of the Norse/German names to emulate a sort of proto-state. Other than a mere, we are never given a set god for the Nordheimer, that is one that they follow, but historically the greater gods of the Germanic pantheon have been Tyr, Odin, Thor, etc. I have chosen to assume that the Vanir favor Ymir, as they need him to give them gentle winters for sailing, and the Aesir favor Tyr, who was originally a god of kingship, laws, and battles. Hence, Sildar is swearing by Tyr and not Ymir. I have also chosen to use the older gods of that saga as the gods of the Hyborian age. So the heroes of the Hyborian era will one day be identified as Odin, Thor, Loki, Heimdall, etc. But the older gods, the Vanir of the Norse mythology, are the ones that most people would end up swearing by during the era that we're currently in, with a few exceptions such as Tyr, who's normally counted as being an Aesir. The liver thing. The liver is believed in certain traditions to be where the soul of a human being is housed. Also dipping in a little bit into, I guess the best term would be pan-Native American modern teachings. You'll hear a phrase called "in a good way." This is a plea for the audience to always act in accordance to what is beneficial, moral, and ethical, not just for the self, but for the whole group. And it seemed on the surface to be a very simple concept, but applied it made quite trying. Since Howard has made his picks a kind of proto-Native American Indian culture, I have chosen to dip into this and use this term to give what would be the more noble Pictish morality. Vanayar, Asayar. Yar is a suffix that, as I understand it, is applied to female goddesses in the Germanic mythology. Here, Lear refers to a line of Vanir women as Vanayar, and throughout the tales, whenever large groups of female Aesir and Vanir are listed, they're going to be listed as Vanayar, Asayar, etc. And that is it for the writer's notes, other than this story was really fun to write. When I was writing initiations and harder lessons, there were times it could be a slog. But when I was writing this one, I really enjoyed it. I think some of that was that classic werewolf kind of thing going on there. Shades of Grendel, as well as like 13th Warrior and some other things. If you've ever seen the movie The Edge with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin, you have a little bit of that feeling going on there. And it was a very pleasing thing to write. And I hope that if you're listening to this, that it was pleasing for you to listen to.